Wednesday, read all about it. Imagine what that was like when when you wake up and you go walk to work or whatever you do. Is there cars back then when they did that? I think so. Who knows? But you just have to grab a newspaper on your way. You don't know what the hell's going on in the world before TVs, before any type of broadcast. That's nuts. Now you get to wake up with me, literally like friggin' an hour after I wake up, you hear me. That's pretty weird. It could be even more instant, actually. Like the second I wake up, you could listen to me talk all over the world. That's crazy, actually. Yeah, the one thing I'm worried about, I was thinking about last night, this is super random, off topic, but I guess it's on topic. I'm reading this book, as you know, The Subtle Art of Giving a Fuck. Oh, by the way, welcome to Still Spinning. We're doing it. It's What the Fuck Wednesday. Yeah. So just what I'm doing is I like to start the day off with some fire, just get the energy going for myself and anybody who's listening. Let's go attack the day. So I'm going to get back to Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, because there's some really good sections in this. I feel like it's just giving me nugget after nugget. But I was thinking in the future when things get so good at like voice recognition and those like videos, they already did it. They already had like a sample of it, of like Barack Obama saying something, and it wasn't actually him saying it, but it was his voice. And since he's been recorded so much, his voice was his exact voice, and they could just manipulate the words, and they can even manipulate his face saying different words. It's just crazy. So in the future, it's going to be literally indistinguishable, especially if it's just voice like I'm doing now on a podcast. But if it's video and voice, how are you going to trust what anybody says? It's so weird. I guess what I'm saying now is I hope you guys know that everything I do is for positive. So trust in the human race. If you hear me saying some crazy shit, it might be me. It might be a robot. Might be artificial intelligence manipulating my voice, or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, trust your heart. That's what I'm always going to do. So even if it sounds like me, it is me on video. I don't know what I'm talking about. That's years in the future, but you get the point. Is that scary? How are you ever you're going to have to just trust yourself. That's the only person that's going to know the truth. Because if someone okay. Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. I'm on chapter 5, I think. You are always choosing. By the way, I've been reading like a couple pages a night. I've got other things to do. I'm packing for Utah, getting ready for all that. So, and my vlog is doing really well because I'm dunking now. It's so much fun to edit. So I've been editing and coaching people. So my time is not as, I don't have as much time as usual, but I have my book bedside, and I read at least a few pages a night. And that's like the little momentum train I keep going. Even if it's just a couple pages a night, I keep it going. So last night I finished this chapter. It was only like 10, 20 pages or something. But yeah, I'm not knocking it out as fast as the other books, but I am loving it. So this chapter was great. It's about you are always choosing. And so it kind of goes into what I was saying about the other podcast. If you listen to Own Your Insecurities with Gary Vaynerchuk's quote, which is just own what you do, take responsibility for who you are. This is going a little bit further with it. It's saying take responsibility for everything. So even if something happened to you, you can blame other people, but your choices now are your responsibility. So one thing I really like what he says, I'll just read a bunch of his quotes. It says, we don't always control what happens to us, but we always control how we interpret what happens to us, as well as how we respond. Whether you like it or not, we're always taking an active role in what's occurring to and within us. We're always interpreting the meaning of every moment and every occurrence. We are always choosing the values by which we live and the metrics by which we measure everything that happens to us. Often the same event can be good or bad depending on the metric we choose to use. The point is we are always choosing whether we recognize it or not. And then this quote I really like. You've heard he brings up Uncle Ben from Spider-Man. He says, with great power comes great responsibility. But he changes it to with great responsibility comes great power. The more we choose to accept responsibility in our lives, the more power we will exercise over our lives. Okay. So now this is what I really like, where it kind of defines it a little bit. So it could be someone else's fault, or it could be your responsibility. So the way he puts it is fault is past tense. Responsibility is present tense. Fault results from choices that have already been made. Responsibility results from the choices you're currently making every second of the day. So of every day. So every time something happens, no matter what happens, even if it's the most horrible thing, he even mentions like a baby gets dropped off at your doorstep. It's not your fault that happened, but you're responsible now, not for the baby, but your choices now, you have responsibility in those choices you can make with everything. And that's not a great situation, but you still are responsible for the choices you make. Nobody else is ever responsible for your situation but you. Many people may be to blame for your unhappiness, but nobody's ever responsible for your unhappiness but you. So you can blame them. I think he's saying you can blame them for causing you to be unhappy, but now it's your choice going forward. And he talks about, what I really like is he talks about the culture we're in now with everybody pointing out things and everybody's blaming other people or virtue signaling, saying this and that on social media like crazy. And it just makes a lot of sense because what he's saying is everything you do is if you keep blaming other people, you never take responsibility for your own unhappiness. And then when you do that, let me see if I find the quote real quick. He was just explaining how it's a great escape for people to do that. And that's why it's happening so much, because you can do it so easily because you can get mad about anything. Here it is. The responsibility fault fallacy allows people to pass off the responsibility for solving their problems to others. The ability to alleviate responsibility through blame gives people a temporary high and feeling of moral righteousness. So yeah, I really like that, because take notice if you do that. I know I've definitely done that. When you say like that did this or that person made me mad, whatever it is, I always come back to like the traffic analogy because it's super simple. It's just if someone cut you off, they're to blame for you getting upset. But you can choose if that makes you upset or if it makes you feel good to let somebody in the lane, whatever it is. And he also has this really great life to poker analogy. I see life in the same terms as poker. We all get dealt cards. Some of us get better cards than others, and while it's easy to get hung up on our cards and feel like we got screwed over, the real game lies in the choices we make with those cards, the risks we decide to take, and the consequences we choose to live with. People who consistently make the best choices in the situations they're given are the ones who eventually come out ahead in poker, just as in life. And it's not necessarily the people with the best cards. I love that, because you can constantly make choices. It's almost like talent. Hard work beats talent when talent fails to work hard, whatever that quote is. It's you always have choice. So forget the cards already. You already have them. Might as well make the best choices you can every moment. Anything else? I think that's it. I think there was a couple more nuggets. All right. We should prioritize values of being honest, fostering transparency, and welcoming doubt over the values of being right, feeling good, and getting revenge. So honest, transparency, and welcoming doubt. So yeah, that's kind of what I did at the beginning, saying I'm a robot. I'm going to be honest here, but if you hear another robot being dishonest, you know that's not me. Being transparent, super transparent, I'll tell you everything about me. And welcoming doubt, I hope you don't doubt that I've ever wavered from this whatever. And then over being right, feeling good, and getting revenge. So if you're trying to be right, you're trying to get revenge, see if there's another choice you can make to take the higher road. You're already choosing in every moment of the day, and this is the end of it. It really is that simple. It's just not easy. It's not easy because you're going to feel like a loser, a fraud, a dumbass at first. You're going to be nervous. You're going to freak out. You may get pissed off at your wife or your friends or your father in the process. These are all side effects of changing your values, of changing the fucks you're giving, but they're inevitable. It's simple, but really, really hard. And that, I think, is the hammer home point that I really liked about this chapter, is that people hear these things. They say, I'm always choosing. Okay, I'm going to choose to make this responsibility. But then when they go to make that choice, they don't realize what that choice actually means. So when you choose to take the high road, when you choose to go study rather than party, which is an example he says right here, the moment you decide that studying is more important than partying, that getting married and having a family is more important than rampant sex, then working a job you believe in is more important than money, your turnaround will reverberate out through your relationships, and many of them will blow up in your face. This too is normal, and this will be very uncomfortable. So he's basically saying when you choose to go with what you value most, a lot of what you've built your life around is on those previous values. So your friends, your relationships, everything you're built. So you might lose all of that. And that's really tough and really uncomfortable. But when you do that and you choose to put them where you want, it'll be in a place that's more important and more worthy of your energies. And I like that he says energies because you know me. So that's it. I know 10 minutes. I'll just cut it right there. I hope that was helpful. I know it was kind of a lot, but I think it's really good stuff. Choose your values and understand that uncomfortable feeling is worth it. That's it. I'm not a robot. Love you. Bye. Toodaloo.